France: the consequences of false immigration, modern slavery for cheap labor. France created its own problems by allowing millions of immigrants from Africa when they had no intention to integrate them into their society. Mitterrand opened the doors to get more votes and cheap labor from these new immigrants. Today, there is a huge amount of workers with no paper that work under the table for a fraction of the cost compared to a French citizen. The French textile industry is notorious for slaving these people working for almost nothing in their factories. The main reason is always money. France has always been a very racist country, even among themselves. They should have been the last country on earth accepting immigrants. They still think that they are in colonial times. They tax 500 billion euros cash each year from their ex-African colonies. This is on top of all the other income received through raw materials. The issue of false immigration, characterized by the exploitation of vulnerable individuals for cheap labor, has become a concerning phenomenon in contemporary society. This essay aims to explore the consequences of false immigration, with a focus on its association with modern slavery. Additionally, we will examine the recent civil unrest in France, its historical context from the Mitterrand era to present day, and the underlying factors contributing to discrimination and integration challenges faced by immigrants. False immigration and modern slavery. False immigration refers to the recruitment and exploitation of individuals under false pretenses, often involving human trafficking networks and unscrupulous employers. This practice perpetuates a system of modern slavery, wherein individuals are subjected to deplorable working conditions, low wages, and a lack of basic rights and protections. The consequences of false immigration as a form of modern slavery are severe. Firstly, it exploits vulnerable populations, preying on their desperate economic circumstances and lack of legal protections. These individuals, lured by promises of a better life, find themselves trapped in exploitative work environments, with little recourse or support. Secondly, false immigration undermines labor standards and fair competition. By employing undocumented workers at lower wages and without proper protections, unscrupulous employers gain an unfair advantage over businesses that abide by regulations. This perpetuates a cycle of exploitation and drives down wages for all workers, eroding labor rights and dignity. French civil unrest, historical context, and discrimination. France has experienced significant civil unrest in recent years, which has brought attention to the country's deep-rooted issues of discrimination and integration. To understand the present situation, it is crucial to examine the historical context, starting from the Mitterrand era in the 1980s. François Mitterrand's presidency saw a significant influx of immigrants, particularly from former French colonies. While this period aimed to address France's colonial legacy and embrace multiculturalism, it also created challenges in terms of integration. The failure to provide adequate support for immigrants, coupled with socioeconomic disparities, created a fertile ground for discrimination and social tension. Over the years, this lack of integration has fueled grievances among immigrant communities, leading to civil unrest. Discrimination, both overt and systemic, has resulted in limited access to education, housing, employment, and social services for many immigrants and their descendants. The resulting frustrations and marginalization have contributed to the sense of alienation and unrest witnessed in recent times. Integration challenges. Integration challenges faced by immigrants in France exacerbate the consequences of false immigration and contribute to the perpetuation of modern slavery. Various factors hinder successful integration, including economic disadvantage, discrimination, and limited opportunities make it difficult for immigrants to secure stable employment and access upward mobility, pushing them towards informal and exploitative labor arrangements. Social exclusion, marginalization, and exclusion from mainstream society create social divisions, which can lead to resentment, radicalization, and civil unrest. Cultural differences, cultural clashes, and the lack of intercultural dialogue hamper social cohesion, making it harder for immigrants to integrate into French society. Policy gaps, inadequate integration policies, and a lack of targeted support further hinder the successful integration of immigrants, perpetuating cycles of exclusion and discrimination. In conclusion, false immigration, serving as a vehicle for modern slavery, poses significant challenges to societies worldwide. The consequences of this exploitative practice are severe, perpetuating human rights violations and undermining labor standards. In the context of France, recent civil unrest highlights the deep-rooted issues of discrimination and integration challenges faced by immigrants. To address these problems effectively, comprehensive efforts are needed, including the promotion of fair immigration policies, the strengthening of labor rights and protections, and the implementation of inclusive integration programs. Only through these measures can societies work towards eradicating false immigration and building a more equitable and just future for all.